Hey, today I thought I would take up an increasingly hot topic of should I get an associate? When am I ready to get an associate? Should I get another associate as I already have one, etc. Stay tuned. We have a topic that we're going to take up, and that is called, Am I Ready for an Associate? There are various times in your career where this might be a very good question to ask yourself. One of them, and we'll take these up one at a time after I just name them, but the first one is, are you overloaded with patients? Like you're not getting to see everybody and you're losing people out the back door, but it doesn't matter because you've got so many coming in the front door. That would be one thing that we could look at. Another one would be, are you booked out too far and you're losing potential patients because they don't want to wait until you have an opening that far away. Another one might be that your life-work balance has gone completely out of whack. Now, this often comes up when you have a new doctor who is basically going to take all the hours that he can be open and cast the net wide enough to capture all different kinds of patients that would come in and all different kinds of hours. All right, but there comes a point when you're busy enough, and we'll take that up as an issue, what to do. And then sometimes you get tired of practicing and you're just like, enough is enough, and you want to quit or get an associate to take over some of the business because you're burning out. That's another issue altogether. And then the last one is it time for you to exit stage left? You've been in practice 35 years or 40 years or 20 years, I don't care. Sometimes, you've decided you've done enough as a doctor and it's time to go on to other things that you have as interests in life, and it's time to exit. So we'll take these up one at a time. Okay, the first one that we wanted to take up is, are you too overloaded? You have that feeling of having too many patients and you need rollerblades to go faster. Okay, now here are some questions to ask yourself. I'm going to read them to you. The first one is, are your staff scheduling your day properly? Now, we've had clients who have doubled their practices when they already thought that they were fully booked and couldn't take on more. We've helped them double. And the way we do it is by showing the staff how to do an ideal day, so you do not feel crushed or rushed, and so that it fits together better and you can actually see more patients but not feel like you're like needing rollerblades or a skateboard. All right, so booking ideal days is a big secret weapon with us that really does help. And because staff do not always have all the training, in fact, mostly don't have all the training they should have on how to properly book a doctor's schedule. The next one is, do you have enough rooms to add another person working there as a provider? If you don't, that is a very good question to find out first before you go and do it and hire someone. Because if it means you have to cut back from 5 days a week to 3, and then hire somebody to work 3 days a week when you're not there, including Saturday, several things have to be considered about that. One is staffing for those hours and extra days. Number 2, you're giving away 40% of what you would have billed to the person who's the associate, or 50% at worst. And that's out of your own pocket. Are you ready to cut back to 3 days from 5 and give up 40% of your income for those 2 days that you would have worked? Sometimes that's not an appropriate decision right yet. It's better to fine-tune the practice first. And as I said, getting efficiency all in and all the systems and structure that we do with our clients really makes a big difference in prolonging the point where you need to get an associate, but giving you a life at the same time. So here's a third question. Can you acquire more space or make an addition on the building that you have? If you own your own building, sometimes you can build out back, or you can build on the side and add a couple more rooms to be treating patients in, and therefore it won't take up your rooms to add an associate. Here's another question. Are there enough patients to keep an associate somewhat busy a few days a week to start off with, and can you find an associate who only wants to work for you 2 days a week while they work elsewhere 2 to 3 days a week, but eventually will come and join you full-time when you have enough patients. In other words, are you doing enough marketing to rapidly grow so that you can rapidly fill up an associate? They won't stay long if you don't have enough patients for them. So this is a very important issue. We sometimes see practices that are way past the point where they should have had an associate, and in that case it's not so hard because we just have to reactivate and find patients who have dropped off or been forgotten or fell between the cracks and get them back in and fill up the associate. All right, so the next question is, do you have a marketing program that is strong enough to drive in a lot of new patients to fill up that associate right away? Otherwise, they're just taking up space, and eventually you will lose them after all your hard work of training them how you want them to do things in your practice. All right, the last question is, do you have a proper Employment Standards Act contract to put the associate on so they don't walk with your patients and set up next door someday? All right, so that would definitely be an important clause, the non-compete clause. Because we've recently had a client who had an associate and a partner, and they walked inappropriately and did great damage to the practice to begin with. Of course, when they left and all the toxicity was gone, the practice then refilled and just went out the roof. Awesome. It's doing awesome, because sometimes you need to let people go that don't belong there. All right. So now let's take the next one, which is no life-work balance. Now, if you do get to the point where you feel you are so fully booked on 32 to 35 hours, whatever number of hours a week you want to work, and you're not able to book patients in the next week or two, maybe even 3 or 4 weeks, maybe it's time for you to consider at that point getting an associate 1 day, 2 days, and so on, and grow with you. So that you do have life-work balance, because life is important. And you became a doctor not so you could spend all your living hours at the practice and not be able to take vacations and not see your family, or not get home for dinner on time and be with them to play soccer after dinner, etc., etc. So life-work balance is really important, and having an associate can really help with that. But you have to make sure you're ready for it. How about getting burnt out on the job? Now, this one is a very peculiar one. You can think, oh, it's time for me to retire. I've been in practice 25 years, which is not that long. We've had our business for 32 years. I'm like so excited about my business right now and how we're growing and, the people that we're helping, that I don't get that burnt out feeling. But I run my business very much efficiently and have a good team all packed around me, and so on. And that makes a huge difference. So if you're feeling burnt out, it might not be because you've been practicing too long. It might be a matter of you have not got all the systems and structure in place to be a great leader and a good executive and inspire your staff and have the right staff and all those good things that make practicing fun. You might not be spending time enough with your patients. You're trying to just be a treadmill where people come, go, and you're not really connecting with them. So, having time to make friends with your patients and so on is actually a very important thing that gives you a sense of fun for your practice, finding out what they do for a living and, what's special about each person and things like that. I mean, that can keep you very interested and engaged in your practice and not getting that I need to quit feeling. No burnout allowed. So there's many different reasons for burnout. I just thought I'd just cover a bit there, but we look at this carefully because we do get clients who come to us because they're burning out, and that's a totally awesome thing to do because we can help. Okay, good. So then the last one was exit strategy. A lot of our clients start their exit strategy 2 to 5 years before they're ready to retire, because there are things that you need to do to get the practice ready for sale. In the olden days, and I say that with great advisement, because we've been in business 32 years, and so we've seen a lot of evolution go on in all the professions. And in the olden days, doctors often just ran the practice and slowly let it peter down for the last 5 to 10 years and lost interest in it, had other interests in life, traveling, whatever, sometimes many different things, that they were involved in. And the practice just became secondary to all of that. And they let it drizzle down and then eventually just said, okay, today's the day, I'm not coming in anymore. And they just locked the door and walked away. And that was the end of it. No selling a practice. Now, nowadays, that's very foolish to do because good practices can sell for quite a bit of money now. All the different professions that we work with have found that their practices can be quite valuable if they're doing really well. So that's a good reason to work with us and let us help you build your practice up so that when it comes time for the exit, you've got the right staff for the person to take over. You've got the right location, everything's up to date in it. The marketing has been very good, so you have lots of new patients, you've got a fully booked practice. I mean, this can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars more because you took the care to build it up before you retired. So that is one more reason to consider getting an associate, though. And that associate could eventually be the person who buys the practice. In fact, that would be desirable if it's 2 to 5 years till you retire. You want to build them up so they can take it over from you. And so there you go. So all of those reasons are reasons that you should consider as to whether or not you should get an associate at this time. And if you would like some help with this, I do a free in-depth practice analysis, and we can look at that and see, is it the right time to get one? Are you past due getting one? Are you ready to exit? Do you want to posh things up and have some fun before you retire one day? Are you burning out? Okay, we can help with all those things. So just give me a call, and this assessment is totally free. It's about 3.5 hours long, and we have a blast because there's a lot of things we talk about in your practice that you didn't even maybe think of yet. And so just give me a call. And if you like this video, be sure and check out the other videos on our channel. We have playlists on different topics. And if you like it, share it with somebody else. And if you can give me a like or a heart, that's a great thing too. Okay, good. Bye for now.
To get your practice analyzed, contact the Art of Management at 416-466-6217.